Everything is gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Good morning, and welcome to News and Politics Today with Renee and Calvin Borston Hill. We are here in the studio of Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM WBISLP. We also come to you live on Facebook, on GPAC, on YouTube. So tune in every week at 10 o'clock. And may I say good morning to you, Calvin?
Good morning, Renee. Good morning. We're going to ask our awesome radio listeners from all over the country to give us a call today because I think the topic that we're going to be talking about is so important. And the number to call is 252-756-2008. We look forward to your comments and your conversation.
Okay, so real quick, CDC has now made available the Pfizer vaccination for children under 6, I think from 6 months to 6. So that's something to consider. I have no young kids. I do have baby grandchildren and great-grands, Calvin, but it's up to the parents, not the grandparents, to determine whether or not their children should get the vaccine. We can only advise, and I can only say that we have been doing okay.
Yes, we have.
And we're thankful for that.
We always tell everyone, not only our family, but friends and everyone, to get the vaccine. It can only protect you. If you do get the virus, it will protect you from getting so sick that you have to end up in the hospital. When you get your vaccine, it's a protection, just like any other vaccine. Where you can, if you remember the seniors out there, you remember when we had the polio vaccine, we had the smallpox vaccine, we had chickenpox, we had so many different vaccines that the children had to take before they could even go to school. So we have to make sure that we take care of our family.
Okay, so Calvin, there's so much to talk about today. Today is a federal holiday, Juneteenth. And over the weekend, we know that there was a lot of activity around and surrounding Juneteenth.
Well, you're so right, but now this is, again, I'm going to take my own personal outlook on this because Juneteenth is different for Black Americans versus white Americans because of the circumstances. That is a true Black Independence Day, unlike the 4th of July. July is a completely different Independence Day than Juneteenth. Juneteenth is an Independence Day for Black folks, and that's what we're looking for.
And the reason why we want to talk about this holiday is because before, the first year that it became a federal holiday was last year. There was celebration going on because we got the true meaning of Juneteenth and what it meant to Black people here in this America. And just in case, just to give a little history, because I'm going to tell you, I am not a historian. I am not a journalist. I just try to pick up what I can so that I can just give you a buzz to go further and more in depth over our subject matters. But I do know that 2 years after slavery was abolished in this America, they decided not to sound the alarm in Galveston, Texas. So for 2 years, Black slaves were continue to be can't see in the morning, can't see at night, and they were completely engulfed, still in slavery, still being lynched, still being beaten and whipped, still picking cotton and everything else from the fields. And today, since it's this holiday, the Juneteenth, and it became a federal holiday, I'm hoping that the people who are talking about this history of CRT or critical race theory, they don't want to acknowledge the contributions of Black people to this America, which we built. I hope they're at work right now, Calvin.
Yes, well, that's the thing too, Renee, because when I say we now, I'm talking about Black Americans, Black people, during the slavery time and even before, after that, we put so much labor into building this country, from the farm, picking the cotton, doing the tobacco, you know, even building buildings, the White House. Even we built the White House. So, but they call it the White House, and I guess they have their own reasons for doing that. But the thing is, slavery, it was important in the time that it was for white folks, but not for us. I remember someone saying that people enjoyed being enslaved. I can't think of anybody that would enjoy being enslaved by someone else. It doesn't make sense, but that's what someone said, and that was a very popular individual that said that. I don't get it how someone could say stuff so stupid, but that's what they said, And then in Juneteenth, like I said before, it's such a difference because it was Independence Day for us, a Black race, whereas for white folks, it was more of it wasn't an independence like the 4th of July, and that's what this is all about. Because what is happening, we say that, if you're going to say something about slavery, but tell the truth about it. That's why they don't want certain books in school. They don't want their children, they think, would feel guilty because they read the truth about slavery. But 9 out of 10 times they would not feel anything because that's just the way people are today.
Well, I think what they are trying to do is not understand the contribution that Black people made. So rather than acknowledge us, they are going to suppress the conversations. However, it being a federal holiday, Calvin, I believe that now, whether they want to deal with it or not, the slavery and the white supremacy that continued, all right, even though Black people were freed back then, they were still being suppressed through white supremacy that showed up in so many ways on what we were allowed to do or not. So, I just think that, again, 252-756-2008. I always like to speak, Calvin, from facts, but perhaps somebody out there can give us some more information on the Juneteenth, and how that day came about, which we all acknowledge now. But are the white supremacists, are they now going to act and stop cutting and burning books, stop banning books, thinking that their children, when they are not going to school, as most schools are out, but some are still in, that they understand the true meaning of the holiday? Because otherwise it's going to be another Christmas, another Easter, another Martin Luther King, President's Day. Now we have Juneteenth Day, where it becomes so commercialized, such a capitalist thing, because now people are finding ways to make money off of this holiday. There was so much stuff, down to T-shirts, party, cupcake stuff on Juneteenth that was sold on Amazon and also in the stores. They were, and it's like, okay, we're going to get involved, but how much of that money that they make off of this holiday are they willing to get Black people to help the Black and brown communities?
Well, really, that's just like, in Tennessee, there was a celebration for Juneteenth Day. And then you had two groups of white nationalists out there protesting. And that's what this is all about, because no matter what we try to do, you always have someone, that are trying to push us back. And we are not going to allow it. That's why we are going to talk about the facts that are going on in reference to Juneteenth and other different holidays.
And truly, because of the commercialization of Juneteenth, I really was not interested in going to see where white people, the white supremacists, are benefiting from this holiday versus sitting down and educating us on how and why this holiday has been and why it's so important. Because if we don't acknowledge the racism and slavery in this America, then we are not going to be able to overcome and give and stop the racism that is being done. There are so many things that are still being impacted on us where we don't have access. We don't have access to good health care. There's so many things that we need to talk about. And perhaps 252-756-2008, you can help and join this conversation. But Calvin, again, yesterday being Father's Day, I do want to acknowledge all the fathers, because fathers are now and have been stepping up and being involved in our children. There are some absentees for fathers, but that's not the purpose of Father's Day.
Well, when people talk about absentee fathers, they always look at the black man, but there are so many different races. They have absentee fathers, just like black, white. White folks have a lot of absentee fathers as well. If you have a large population, then you're going to have some absentee fathers in all races. It's not just black races where we have absentee fathers. I know some good individuals that have been there. Men have been there for their parents. I even know men that was raising their children by themselves. So don't say that, just talk about the absentee fathers. Talk about the good ones, the ones that are doing the right thing, the ones that are providing for their family.
All righty. So again, happy Father's Day. Something good to look forward to, acknowledging the men and their children. And, thank you for those fathers who stayed involved with their children. Now, now we're going to go into, I said, Calvin, I was going to make the statement every time. This is who we are as Americans. All right. That this America that we are living in now, where the white supremacists can go to a Juneteenth affair and dressed in their costumes, other than the white sheet over their heads, disturbing and breaking up a celebration. This is who we are as Americans now, where white people can dress up and go to a gay, or almost made it to a gay parade to cause havoc with ammunition, with AR, was it 15?
AR-15s, yes.
Okay, bombs. But thankfully, someone prevented that. That could have been a disaster for the gay parade. So a lot of gay parades have been stopped because they are afraid of what's going on. And again, this is who we are as Americans. Where can we be black and safe in this America?
That is so important that that you say that, because it's such a fact. Black folks are being targeted throughout this country, all over the place. That's what we are talking about. And the thing is, we should, you know what, Renee? I would say this here. We talk about gun control a lot. Everybody in the country is talking about gun control, Second Amendment, and all that. But I'm going to tell you, if black folks would go out and start getting guns, I don't care if it's a pistol, I don't care if it's a shotgun or AR-15, they will automatically, you will see how fast they change the laws in this country.
Okay, so I just want to read a comment that we have out there today from Irving Donaldson. Why do we talk about absent fathers on and not absentee mothers on Mother's Day. Because I guess since we are becoming verbal right now, a lot of the conversation that is given out there or the narrative that is given out there is put out really by the white people. Another way that they can find ways to put black people down. They managed for years to separate, to do what they could to separate from slavery. They found a way to separate the families. They would sell off the babies of people, sell off maybe even the people's wives, or they would hang people's family, hang their husbands to destroy the black family. So we at this time, particularly on Juneteenth, Father's Day, why do they not talk about it? Because who knows why we don't talk about the absenteeism of mothers.
Well, I guess we have to do that on Mother's Day.
Yeah, we will start it, and it's not a joke, okay?
No, it's not a joke.
But
because there are a lot of absentee mothers out there.
Yeah, so I'm glad that that conversation is being generated out here on our show today, and maybe somebody can talk about it. It's just like how when critical race theory came out, it was not, it was to talk about slavery and the upbringing and the uprising of it. However, one of the things that they wanted to have it as a scare tactic was that they changed the narrative. And when we notice that the narrative of something that is so important to us, our Black community, we have to take that control and give the conversation the real facts. We cannot allow people to keep talking for us. Okay, it's the white people, white supremacists, the white people, white power people who want to maintain the power that keeps changing the narrative so that they can find ways of uniting their people, particularly since they are soon to be in the minority. But they want to hold on to the money, they want to hold on to property, they want to hold on to control and power.
Well, that's the main thing, by 2040, this country is going to be completely different than the way we see it today, because you're going to have so many people, even right here in North Carolina, you see so many brown children, that are mixed race. And that's going to be throughout the country, not just in North Carolina, but all over the country. And that's what's happening with the young folks. The young folks are not seeing each other as black and white as their grandparents did, or even their parents did. They're just falling in love with individuals. And that's the key right there. So many times we question why someone fall in love, but you don't fall in love with color. You fall in love with an individual. And that's the way life is.
Okay, so we'll soon be coming up for a break. And what we're going to continue to talk about, we have to talk about this committee for gun control and the joke that is. And we're also going to talk about the Roe v. Wade and the Supreme Court coming out with a decision that can pretty much tell men what women can do with their bodies. Also, we're going to speak about the public hearing and the pressure or the scam that Trump continues to voice. And also, where is Jenny Thomas? She was one of the biggest people who were trying to overturn.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
election.
her a lot on the other side of the break, Renee, because we want to bring her to the forefront.
And we want to put pressure on our council people or our legislators, because we put them in Washington to speak for us. And if they're not going to talk, again, I'm going to list in people in North Carolina, and you can find those Republicans in your state, since we have people from New York, we have people from Virginia, we have people from all over the country listening to us. Find the insurrectionists, okay, the Republicans who did not vote to certify the elections. I'm going to give you my list. And then the people who decided to bring NRA into the conversations, because most of the people, particularly the Republicans, they are big contributors from the NRA. Did you know that?
Yeah, but that's the thing. The NRA gave a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, I'm talking millions of dollars to these
over the
individuals.
years. Mhm.
You know, and the thing is, if they're giving away millions of dollars to individuals, they want something in return. And that's what this is all about.
Okay, so those are topics, and maybe perhaps you all have an opinion on it. Don't be shy. But I will say, Calvin, that I listen to a lot of talk shows and they say, call in, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're going to say call in 252-756-2008.
Partial funding for this program is brought to you by CT Cleaning Service, 919-345-5823. Nationally certified and bonded for COVID cleaning, commercial and residential, and for all general cleaning. CT Cleaning Service, 919-345-5823. Have a peace of mind that your place of worship, your office building, your home, and your place of work have been nationally certified COVID cleaned, disinfected, and sanitized. 919-345-5823. Thank you, CT Cleaning, for your support.
Do you know where you're going beyond this mortal life? You can have an assurance. You can have a peace and a knowing that God's plan is already put in place for your life, for your eternity. Isn't that good news?
WBIS LP Awesome Radio.
And welcome back to News and Politics Today with Renee and Calvin Boston Hill. We are here every Monday at 10 a.m. and we thank you so much for listening. The other part is that, where are we, Calvin? We're at Awesome Radio, 106.9 WBISLP. And right before the break, I was telling you the breakdown of what else we're going to speak about. And perhaps maybe you might want to say something. Always feel free to join this conversation. Well, one of the things I've been monitoring is the gun control. The senators, 10 from the Democratic Party, 10 from the Republican Party, have sat down to make a new bill for gun control. And while people are fighting, the supporters at the Republican Party are booing one of the Republican leaders when he went to speak, because they didn't want him to talk about the gun control or what it was that he was doing in this committee. However, it's important that we know, because I want to be fair to all the people out there in our land, that these are the 10 senators, Republican senators, that are there making this conversation. And the important thing is that we know that they're about to leave to go for their 4th of July weekend, where they'll be asking you to contribute. But maybe we don't need to contribute to some of these campaigns, because they are big donors or big worshipers for the NRA. So when you have people like Richard Burr from my good old North Carolina, who is sitting at that table, and he's one of the top 5 players that NRA gives money to. The other one that I wanted to talk about is for the good old North Carolina is Tom Tillis. He's one of the top 5 that get a lot of money and donations. And meanwhile, he is sitting at the table trying to make gun control when they are the part of the big problem. The big problem is that if you have people, okay, that are, Calvin, what do you call lobbyists?
Lobbyists.
If you have lobbyists from the NRA, and then you bring them to the table, these legislators, senators, to make a decision on gun control, well, Who do they think they are fooling? So when the talks break down, do we really think that we, as taxpayers, to these senators, giving them our money every week, they collect a paycheck, do you think they would really be fair or really care that these mass shootings are killing Black people? They are killing children. They are killing a lot of people. So, Richard Burr, we need for you to do better. Okay. We also need Tom Tillis, another North Carolinian, to do better. Okay. Listen to the people, listen to the president and the one who's in charge of this country and what it is that he's looking to for the outcome of these talks. The other ones that we have here is Bill Cassidy. He is from Louisiana. We have Mitt Romney from Utah, who's at the top of the list, and he's sitting in terms of getting money from NRA, and he's sitting on this committee. Lindsey Graham, of course, from South Carolina, he also gets money from the NRA. So I'm saying to you all, how did we or Schumer, Senator Schumer from New York, Democrat, how did he allow these people to be there on that committee and say that they are for the people, about the people, when they are part of the problem to the people?
You know, you said that so eloquently, you know, and that's the problem. Because when these individuals, like I said before, Renee, are getting millions of dollars from the NRA, you know, who do they have at the best for their best interest? Do they have the people or do they have the NRA? You know, the NRA don't give them money for nothing. They give them money because they want them to be pledged to them. And that's what this is about, you know, letting people know who's working for the public and who's working with our NRA.
And then also Mitch McConnell, he's in our Congress. Okay, he gets money from NRA. Josh Hawley, who was so rude and disrespectful when they had the hearings, he gets money from the NRA. He's out of Missouri. And of course, Ted Cruz. These are the people that when we now leave this station today, that we call with the 5 caller apps, because whether they represent me or not, I need for them to still hear my voice. They need to do better. Okay. They need to do better because lives are being taken away. And if we don't change the composition of this Senate, this do nothing Senate, then we are going to be in a lot of trouble. And I don't see why I have to live worrying about, and if I walk down the street, will somebody take a shot at me because some deranged person, where they don't want to put mental health. Oh, okay. We have a telephone call coming in. Good morning. News of Politics Today with Renee and Calvin Boston Hill. And good morning.
Well, good morning.
Do you want to join our conversation?
You are, as always, you're on target.
Okay. And what am I on target?
On target. And I just basically want to call and say, well, I want to say that to you, but the other side of it is, I want to wish my friend, Calvin Boston Hill, have happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you. And the same back to you.
Yeah, y'all, you're rolling right along. A lot of things going on, but you all are right on target. A lot of issues due to the circumstance and my place and life and business right now. Issues openly. I don't, get involved to say anything about it. But you own target.
All right, I appreciate you.
That.
We appreciate
you own target.
Okay.
And if you were aiming, you would hit it dead in the middle.
We're aiming for that.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
Our goal is to wake up America. We want to wake up America. We want to be black and safe in this America.
You really do it. It's amazing how many people. As I sit and spoke on Saturday at the EPS function for the Juneteenth about where it all originated from and what it's all about, many of the people didn't understand, didn't even know.
You're right. Because
Didn't he know?
a lot of times, Mr. Johnson, we have closed ears and closed minds.
Right.
And if it's not directly affecting us, then we don't pay attention to it. And something
they didn't realize how it used to be here in North Carolina. People came from all the upstate. People had been in the military. That this was their home, and when they come to go to the functions, they would stop by to see the family. And I don't know, it was called June German.
Okay,
that's what it was called. And they would have a big function at a warehouse in Rocky Mount, and it would be something that go on all night long for that weekend for June German.
Okay.
And it came to the point, all of a sudden, the other culture wanted to be a part of it. So what they did is put a rope down in the middle of the warehouse, so each person can be on the side. And it got so strong, and so many of the other cultures there, they broke the rope down, and it became a total mixture. Now you know what happened if they did that.
Oh yeah.
It got closed down.
Right, it got closed down. Yes.
Got closed down. Right in Rocky Mount.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was the whole purpose. That was the whole purpose.
Right. But I mean, that's what happened to them. I mean, it was a function that had been going on for years, called June German. And because many people that was there Saturday out at Epps, they didn't realize what it was all about, other than the fact that's what they call it now, Juneteenth.
Right.
But that's not that's not the beginning of it.
Exactly.
And see, and that's part of it, like going out there celebrating, the freedom of slavery, but not really speaking on that history of how and why it has become. And then now that the white people are involved in it, they're commercializing it, not giving any of that money back into the Black communities. They don't want to do reparations where they can help to mend and to rebuild a community that they continue to this day trying to
Partial funding for this program is brought to you by Blessed Hands Car Wash and Detail Plus, 2016 Chestnut Street, Greenville. Vehicle inspections, U-Haul rentals, spick and span hand vehicle wash and detail. That's Blessed Hands, 252-413-0609. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Blessed Hands Car Wash and Detail Plus, 2016 Chestnut Street, Greenville, 252-413-0609. Thank you, Blessed Hands Car Wash and Detail Plus, for your support. Are you a business or organization and you're looking for a few good people to join your work staff team? Are you now hiring? Need help? Want it now? Be listed and get noticed in our Awesome Radio on-air classifieds. Post your now hiring job descriptions on our website and have it announced here on this radio station and get your positions filled. Sign up today at WBISAwesomeRadio.org or contact us by phone 252-756-3137. People are looking for jobs. Let us help you find those people. Get your now hiring, need help, want it now announcements listed in our Awesome Radio on-air classifieds. Visit our website to learn more, WBISAwesomeRadio.org, or contact us by phone 252-756-3137.
This is Ruth W. Council, and I listen religiously to WBIS Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM.
All right. Ooh, yeah. Well, oh, yeah. Here we go, y'all. Sing a little message out to those of y'all who feel like you're struggling.
Good morning, and welcome to News and Politics Today with Renee and Calvin Borston Hill. We are here every Monday. Well, we will be going on vacation, so but we are here every Monday at 10 o'clock at Awesome Radio. We come into the studio of Awesome Radio because we just love it here. We feel at home, and we just happy that they have allowed us to have a voice, not necessarily the thoughts of Awesome Radio 106.9 FM WBISLP, but Renee and Calvin's comments and how we need to control the narrative of what goes on in our community. And so many things, like when the CRT or the critical race theory came up, we knew that it was a study done by college people. And then those white supremacists took that same word, CRT, and tried to make it as a boogie, a boogie man in the white community. And what happens, just like how there are so many people who are still supporting that lie, still believing in that the insurrection was just a party or a gathering, the viciousness of it is not being, that narrative is not being told. The story of what happened that day is truly not being told. So based on the January 6th committee and the work that they've done, Calvin, I am so happy that I am paying attention, because now I'm getting that gray area where maybe, oh, maybe it was a party, maybe it was good times. I'm getting that it was not, and that we need to hold the right people accountable. And when we have Republicans, okay, who are running for office and they are right here in our town, all right, we have to make sure that we have people in a position of control and leadership that have like minds like us. And so, again, as I always promise you, I am going to speak about the people who didn't want to certify the election. There were 147 people from the House of Representatives that, after the insurrection happened, after they ran out of their the board or their room, the chambers, they had to hide and run for their safety. We do know that Trump was very complicit in his directives to the insurrectionists that to kill Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. And we are going to find out more facts about that, because tomorrow's, I think they're going to be focusing on how Trump was trying to overturn the elections and how he was giving instructions to officials, and some of these officials did not go along with his scam.
Well, we got to remember too, Renee, the fact that he called the Secretary of Georgia and told him that he needed 11,800 and some votes. He was specific about the number of votes that he wanted this individual to find, and you can't find what's not there unless you manufacture them. And that was the key right there. And this individual was brave enough to not only record the conversation, but put it out there so that the universe could hear this conversation. And that is so important, because what is happening is that this June 6th committee, they cannot prosecute Trump. Okay? That's a fact. They cannot prosecute him. However, the Attorney General, Garland, they can do it. And whether he will do it or not is a whole different thing. They have a lot of stuff going on at the Attorney General's office, but they have to concentrate on what is happening here with all these different witnesses, over 1,000 witnesses that the committee has questioned. And some of those individuals, were very, very instrumental in this insurrection that happened on January the 6th. We need to make sure that, and call Garland, Attorney General Garland, call him, to the table, call him to make sure that he's doing what has to be done.
All right. Well, again, there is some conversation coming out of that area, Calvin. I think he is requesting and has made another request for them to turn over what they have done, their work. And they want to make sure that, number one, I guess that they get credit. And number two, that they get to control the narrative. Once that they release their findings, then people will dissect it. People are already saying, oh, that's not true. Trump is still out there spreading the lie. And this is why it's so important that we do our homework as citizens of this America to find out what is the voting policies or power that these people have. Because after the insurrection, if you could still sit in a chamber for the House of Representatives and not vote to certify an election, then that means you're still supporting the lie. And this is why I will do my homework to make sure that I continue, because just like how they did not vote to certify the elections, these same individuals, they did not vote for the I'm going to get it. They did not vote they did not vote for the baby formula. Okay, it's between the two houses, the Senate and the Senate and the House of Representatives, that what's happening to the HR1 bill? What is happening with the John Lewis bill? What is happening with the George Floyd bill, the HR1 bill, the Build Back Better? I won't say you people, if y'all don't understand how the Build Back Better program helped to lift people out of poverty, and it ended December. Here it is now January, and that bill has not come to the table. Do you know how it could benefit not only Black families, because you have the poor white people who need these programs just as bad, if not worse, than we do. And they are still supporting that lie because it gives them what they think is the power over other people. But guess what? When they decide, Calvin, that they are going to allow this Trump guy, who is the liar in chief, if they're going to allow him back in power, which he doesn't have to have an office to control the Republican parties. But again, what we're finding, but let me just go through this, Calvin. All right. For North Carolina, of the 147 people who did not certify the election that President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris were the chosen people for the people, by the people, to be president and vice president of this country. And after the insurrection, they went back to the chambers. And I'm letting y'all know that I'm not sure if he's in your part of the town, but these are North Carolina. Find the people from your state. Richard Hudson, he did not vote to certify the election. Virginia Fox did not vote to certify the election. David Rouser did not vote to certify the election. Greg Murphy did not vote to certify the election. Madison Cawthorn, who we don't have to worry about anymore, he did not vote to certify the election. Ted Budd, he was there in the chambers, and he did not vote to certify the election. And Dan Bishop, he did not vote to certify the election. So these are the people who are there from the beginning of this insurrection that was cited and stimulated and called on not only Donald Trump, but Jenny Thomas.
Well, mentioning Jenny Thomas, that is a whole, I don't even know what to say about her, because what happened is the average person that is married, she says that her and her husband don't talk about the same thing. Well, to me, I don't understand that, because, she is one of the ones that financially supported this insurrection. According to, all the reports that I've read, she financially had buses that was bringing people in, so I think that the committee, when I say the committee, I'm talking about January 6th committee, need to bring her in. Now, she said that she would go there, but the only way, in my opinion, that she's going to go there is that if they subpoena her, because people talk the talk, but they don't necessarily walk the walk. So this way, once they subpoena her, she have to go there. But see, the thing is, with these subpoenas, I wonder how much do they really, really matter, Renee?
Well,
because the reason I say that is because there's been a couple of people that have gotten subpoenas, and Garland didn't do nothing about it.
So I'm sorry, Calvin, but what would happen if you've been subpoenaed and you didn't show up? What would happen?
The marshal would be at my front door probably before I got the subpoena, to take me down in handcuffs. But this is the thing. When you have money, I guess, rules don't apply to you. So we need to make sure that Attorney General Garland, do what he's supposed to be doing. If these subpoenas are issued, then these individuals should be brought in to testify. Doesn't matter whether they plead the fifth or not. They should be brought in to testify.
And when here it is now, that it's going on for over a year that this insurrection happened, and it was just supposed to be a peaceful transition of power. One president to the next president being acknowledged for now. You're no longer, you have to sit down and be quiet, but they're not sitting down and not being quiet. And he is being empowered by these legislators that we have sent to Washington to work for us. And all I'm saying is that this general election, we have to show up and show out. We have to be there and we have to do our homework. We even, and again, this is going to be, the municipals happened. And what happened is that even in our little town of Greenville, North Carolina, we had Trump in this little town. He had the nerve to come here, 2 or 3 times?
I think it was 3 times.
And he was invited by our legislators. They stood there on the stage with the first time, what was his saying, send them back, send them back. And we had our legislators not even being embarrassed, but to go, and from this America where they did not originate from, they had the nerve to tell people to go back. And then on top of that, like I said, they supported the insurrection. And now we're finding out that some of the legislators even gave these insurrectionists tours the day before. Listen, America, is this your America? Is this how you want things to go? That people can intimidate people, that people can lie to people, and that you're not going to open up and say, no, put a halt to this. Because as long as our legislators, and for me, our legislators are Republicans. I'm in a Republican-controlled state. So I have no choice but to deliver a message to them. And all I'm saying is that before you go to those polls November, do your homework. Know who you are supporting. Know, particularly if they are an incumbent, that means they have a history. When they went into the office, they said, this is my platform. This is what I'm going to do for you as your representative. And then they get in the office, and then you don't even know who they are, Calvin. They're completely different people.
Correct.
And all I'm saying is that pay attention to these, because if you were on the fence, well, I'm not sure if Trump should be arranged for this scam that he has going. He is collecting millions of dollars from people, and yet nobody is challenging his way. Well, the January 6th committee is challenging his actions. But when we think about it, we, the people, have to have a voice, and we need to be able to control the narrative on things that are affecting our life. So this is who we are. This is who we are as Americans, because guess what? They were given the right to do whatever they want to do to us because we don't say anything, or our voice is not loud enough. So they get to say and make things what they want it to be. But I wanted to also read something that I was looking at on one of my mails that I had gotten. And Calvin, could you talk for a few seconds?
Sure. Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because, I'm going to talk about the abortion. We have all our legislators talking about, we should not be aborting children. Women should not have that right. Yet, now just think about this for a second. They want the babies to be born. But now when the babies are born, when we had a shortage of formulas, right, they would not vote to get more formulas here for those babies that they want to be born. So think about that. So what are they saying? They're saying that, they don't care about the babies once they're born. They just want the babies to be born, and then they can do whatever they want. But it's so important that I always say, listen with that third ear and look with the third eye so you can see and hear better as to what these individuals are doing for us.
And just also, Calvin, one of the things that the point that I wanted to bring out is that I was reading something out of Facebook that Mary Trump, and she's no fan of her uncle Donald Trump, and she says that quote unquote, I hear people say that Republicans are afraid of Donald. No, they're not. They are him. They are sticking with the guy who gives them permission to be their worst selves. So that why are people still talking about the lie? Why are they coming and listening to him saying that the elections were not legit, and that he's the real president? Why are they giving him money? It's because he is saying and allowing them to be exactly who they are. And this is what is so scary, when there are so many people who are supporting and believing in the lie.
Well, and that's the thing, you never know in today's world who you're living next to. And that's so important.
Okay, so again, the things that we talked about today was the gun control. Understand that they really did not expect something to come out of it. It's more tax dollars being wasted on people to do nothing in Washington. So again, look at the list of people and the highest paid from the NRA, and then trace them to see if they are part of that committee for the guns. Also, pay attention, because we have to understand that if they rule against Roe v. Wade, what they are also now putting on that bill is the ability for women to have access to health care. We here in North Carolina did not get Medicaid expansion. So that means that there are fewer people who have access, and usually it's a Black and brown community, fewer people who have access to health care. So if they have a baby that is not going right for them, or that they decide it's not, they can't even have an abortion. They have to have the child that they will have to struggle, and again, continue the cycle of poverty.
And I just want to add one thing to that, Renee. Every month, we send hundreds of thousands of dollars to other states because we do not have a Medicaid expansion. That is so important. Where if we had Medicaid expansion, we would be having that money stay in our own state.
All right. Pay attention to the public hearings, okay, so that you have information and knowledge for yourself. There is so much misinformation, and there's so many people still looking at TVs that are not supporting them. Also, Jenny Thomas, get her to the committee so that we can hear her say that she supported the insurrection. And we need to find a way to impeach Clarence Thomas, because the highest court, where you have to have trust and faith in the people, we are losing it.
We have lost it, to be honest with you, because he is hearing cases that his wife is involved in. So how can you trust someone like that?
And again, this is News and Politics Today with Renee and Calvin Boston Hill. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. And again, pay attention. You get to control the narrative. Stop giving your power away.
Stay woke, please.
And we'll be back next week, Monday at 10 o'clock. And we are here at Awesome Radio 106.9 FM WBIS. LP.
And do not forget to wear your mask. We still wear our mask every time we leave the house.
And now also monkeypox is also out there and also around. So we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening.
And we thank our family and friends that's always not only listening but commenting on the show.